Welcome, wanderers of the twilight, to whispers of darkness. I'm your guide through the veiled thickets where folklore sprouts from shadowed secrets and the paranormal blooms with an eerie, inescapable intent. Tonight we step into the domain of fairies, those diminutive tricksters whose glittering wings conceal a thirst for chaos, subtle cruelty, and silent, soul-binding vengeance. If you're new to our shadowed path, smash that subscribe button and join our haunted circle. We delve into ghost tales, urban myths, and chilling narratives that will unsettle your peace of mind. And in this enchanted yet treacherous grove, heed this: one wrong step and the fairies will claim your soul. Whisper by haunting whisper. Prepare yourself, for these aren't the sparkling sprites of children's tales. They're ancient entities rooted in folklore, modern whispers, and stories laced with psychological dread. We'll unearth their origins, their enigmatic powers, and weave a single terrifying folklore tale that might make you fear the faint flutter of wings in the dark. Let's cross the threshold, if you're brave enough. The ancient origins of fairies. To unravel the mystery of fairies, we travel to the misty hills and ancient forests of Celtic Europe, Ireland, Scotland and Wales, where the Aos Sea, or people of the mounds, were born over 2,000 years ago. These weren't the delicate pixies of storybooks, but divine echoes of the Tuatha De Danann, Ireland's mythical gods forced into the otherworld shadows when humans claimed the land. Known as fairies, they became enigmatic guardians of nature, neither purely good nor evil, but hauntingly unpredictable. In Celtic tales, fairies dwell in fairy mounds, ancient burial sites or hidden glens, slipping into our world at twilight to interact with mortals. They demanded respect, offerings of milk, bread or honey to keep their favour. Trespassing, stepping into a fairy ring of mushrooms or harming a sacred hawthorn, could bring misfortune, sudden illness, disorientation, or a lingering sense of dread. The 12th century Book of Leinster calls them neither god nor phantom, but something in between, their beauty a veil for their capricious nature. This isn't just Celtic lore. In Slavic tales, the Leshy leads wanderers astray in forests, leaving them lost in endless loops of confusion and despair. Japan's Kodama, spirits of ancient trees, whisper curses to those who disrespect their groves, bringing fevered dreams and unrelenting unease. In African Yoruba stories, Ewin spirits guard sacred forests, luring trespassers into strange trances where reality blurs. Native American Pukwudgies, small tricksters of lore, confuse travelers with eerie lights, guiding them into swamps where the mind wanders aimlessly. In medieval Europe, fairies were often feared as demonic. The 1486 Malleus Maleficarum linked them to witches, accusing them of stealing babies and leaving changelings, strange mimics that unsettled families with their unnatural behaviours. Witch trials condemned people for fairy pacts, blaming them for blighted crops or sick livestock that wasted away mysteriously. In 1697, a Scottish woman, Elspeth Rhaoch, was executed for claiming fairies taught her to cast curses with a glance, her fate sealed by the era's pervasive fear. These stories linger. In 2025, rural Ireland still avoids fairy forts, ancient ring forts, after odd accidents befall those who disturb them. A 2019 construction project in County Galway paused when workers heard faint laughter and found tools mysteriously broken, an inexplicable chill settling over the site. Hikers vanish in forests, their gear found scattered, blamed on fairy mischief that leaves the mind reeling. These beings embody nature's untamed spirit, beautiful, elusive, and fiercely protective. A Welsh proverb warns, "Tread softly, for the fairies' smile hides secrets. That shiver down your spine? It's just the start. Let's explore the powers that make fairies the forest's most enigmatic tricksters. The unseen powers of fairies. Fairies aren't whimsical sprites. They're supernatural forces wielding abilities that blend enchantment with profound unease. Their forms, some tiny as fireflies, others tall as humans, make them unpredictable, striking from shadows with otherworldly cunning that preys on the psyche. Their hallmark is glamour, a magical illusion weaving beauty or deception. A fairy might appear as a radiant figure, only to vanish, leaving a chill in the air or a glimpse of hollow, unblinking eyes that linger in your thoughts. Glamour lures travellers into bogs, where roots seem to twist with purposeful malice, or to cliffs where a single misstep feels predestined, the mind trapped in a web of doubt. They command nature with eerie precision. Vines may coil to block paths, branches sway as if alive with intent, or flowers release scents that cloud the mind, leaving victims dazed and questioning their sanity. Their music, soft harps, flutes, or whispers, enchants, urging people to dance until exhaustion claims them, or to follow sounds into the dark, where isolation amplifies every fear. Shape-shifting fuels their trickery. They become animals, ravens with knowing eyes, foxes with strange, echoing voices, guiding prey astray into realms of endless wandering. As changelings, they mimic infants, but their odd behaviour, unsettling stares, or sharp, unnatural cries betrays them, sowing discord and paranoia in households. Their touch might bring misfortune, strange, vivid dreams that haunt waking hours, lingering fatigue that drains the spirit, or a perpetual sense of being watched from just beyond sight. Kidnapping is their darkest act. Fairies whisk victims to the otherworld, a twilight realm where time twists unpredictably. Those who return might age decades in moments or emerge haunted, muttering of strange, inescapable sights that erode their grasp on reality. Signs of fairies include mushroom circles where grass wilts unnaturally, livestock acting strangely as if compelled by unseen forces, or silence broken by faint giggles that echo in the mind long after. They're blamed for lost travellers who return changed, ruined fields that whisper of neglect, or children born with odd traits after parents wandered near fairy haunts, forever marked by an inexplicable otherness. Modern accounts report anomalies such as strange lights in woods that draw the eye irresistibly, photos capturing blurred shapes with limbs too elongated, evoking a primal discomfort. Fairies don't just deceive, they unsettle, weaving fear into the natural world, making every rustle a potential omen of psychological torment. That flutter in your chest, the fairies sense it, and they thrive on your growing unease. The Eternal Waltz, a horror story from folklore. Now let us delve into a single chilling tale from folklore that encapsulates the fairies' psychological menace, the Eternal Waltz. This story, drawn from ancient Celtic whispers and echoed in Scottish and Irish oral traditions, tells of a dance that begins in enchantment but spirals into an unending nightmare of the mind and soul. It's a cautionary narrative passed down through generations, warning of the fairies' ability to trap mortals in illusions of joy that mask eternal torment. Long ago, in the mist-shrouded highlands of Scotland, there lived a young musician named Ewan MacLeod. Ewan was renowned for his fiddle, its melodies capable of stirring hearts and summoning tears from even the sternest souls. But he was restless, always seeking new tunes in the wild places where the veil between worlds grew thin. One midsummer eve, as twilight bled into night, Ewan wandered into a secluded glen ringed by ancient oaks. The air hummed with an unnatural stillness, broken only by the faint strains of music, ethereal harps and flutes that seemed to weave through the leaves like living threads. Drawn irresistibly, Ewan followed the sound to a clearing where a circle of mushrooms gleamed under the moon. Within it, figures danced, slender, luminous beings with eyes like polished obsidian, their forms shifting between human grace and something more alien, elongated and fluid. They were the Aos Sea, the fairies of the mounds, engaged in their midnight revelry. Their leader, a queen with hair like spun moonlight and a smile that promised forgotten delights, extended a hand to Ewan. "Join our waltz," she whispered, her voice a melody that burrowed into his thoughts, erasing caution. Enthralled by glamour, Ewan stepped into the ring. The music swelled, and he began to dance, his fiddle forgotten at his side. The waltz was intoxicating. Partners spun with effortless elegance, laughter echoing like distant bells. Time lost meaning. The dance felt like moments, yet the moon wheeled overhead in impossible arcs. Ewan's feet moved of their own accord, compelled by an invisible rhythm that pulsed through his veins. But as the night deepened, subtle horrors emerged. The fairies' smiles stretched too wide, revealing glimpses of endless voids behind their eyes. Their touches, once light, now felt like chains, binding his will. Ewan tried to stop, but his body refused, locked in the eternal motion. Whispers invaded his mind, memories twisted into regrets, forgotten fears amplified into screams that only he could hear. He saw visions of his life unraveling, loved ones aging and dying while he remained trapped, his youth preserved in mockery. The glen transformed in his perception. The oaks became watchful sentinels with branches like grasping fingers. The mushrooms pulsed with a sickly glow, and the music shifted from joy to a dirge of despair. Hours blurred into days, days into what felt like years, yet the dance continued, his mind fracturing under the weight of isolation and illusion. In folklore, it said that Ewan's cries were heard by a passing shepherd at dawn, who, armed with iron shears from his pack, broke the circle by clipping a mushroom stem. The spell shattered, and Ewan collapsed, his hair turned white, his eyes hollow with the weight of centuries glimpsed. He returned to his village, but he was forever changed, a shadow of himself, muttering of the eternal waltz that still echoed in his dreams. He could no longer play his fiddle. Every note evoked the fairies' music, pulling him back toward the glen. Villagers avoided him, fearing his haunted gaze might draw the Aos Sea's attention. Ewan lived out his days in solitude, a living warning, until one midsummer eve when he vanished again, his footprints leading to the mushroom ring, now empty but for a faint, lingering melody. This tale, rooted in Celtic folklore of fairy rings and time-lost dances, illustrates the fairies' true terror, not violence, but the slow erosion of the self. The eternal waltz isn't just a physical trap. It's a psychological abyss where joy curdles into madness and freedom becomes an illusion. Once invited, the dance claims you forever, whispering secrets that unravel the soul. If your heart races at the thought, remember, the fairies' music is always listening, waiting for the next dancer to step in. Protection and warnings, evading the fairies' grasp. How do you survive such mystery? Ancient and modern lore offer defenses, but one mistake can trap you in their spell, leaving your mind adrift in shadows. Avoid fairy rings, lone hawthorn trees, or ancient mounds. They are gateways to the other world. Never eat their food. Enchanted fruit binds you to their realm. You will be lost in endless twilight where time mocks mortality. Offer milk or bread to appease them, but never thank them. Gratitude gives them power over your fate, turning favours into curses. Wards provide subtle shields. Iron repels fairies, so carry a nail or key to disrupt their glamour. Horseshoes hung above doors block their entry, creating barriers of unease. Rowan twigs or red thread tied around cribs deter changelings, their presence warded by symbols of protection. If trapped in their illusions, turn your clothes inside out to break the spell, confusing their magic. Spit on any offered gifts to reject hidden curses, or hum sacred songs to drown out their enchanting music, reclaiming your will. Respect their law, as mocking fairies invites misfortune. Irish tales warn that cutting fairy trees brings bad luck, like workers facing strange accidents or persistent whispers that erode confidence. If whispers echo in the woods or music tugs at your thoughts, leave immediately. Don't look back, lest their gaze pull you into the dance. As we step from the fairies' shadowed glade, remember their charm hides profound mystery, their laughter conceals secrets that burrow deep. These aren't playful sprites, but ancient forces, guarding their realms with eerie cunning that preys on the vulnerable mind. If this chilled your soul, like and comment your creepy thoughts. Ever felt an inexplicable pull in the woods? Subscribe for more folklore horrors, urban legends and paranormal tales on Whispers of Darkness. Till then, avoid the rings, offer the milk and beware the whispers, for the fairies never forget and their waltz awaits the unwary.